everyone.
Namaste. We're really happy you're here today with us. In this video, we want to discuss the universal energy shift, how it affects the planet Earth and human life. We'll also explain why at this point aligning with these changes is so important.
Before we begin, do you want to talk about the source of the information and how we received them, where we received them from?
Sure. In all our channeling and healing sessions, we first create a protected and sacred space, a space where only energies and awareness aligned with the light, truth, and higher consciousness are allowed to enter. This helps us remain balanced and clear energetically and ensure that the information we receive comes from the right source. Generally, when working with energy, discernment and awareness of its source are extremely important. If the connection is not made with the right source, the information received may be inaccurate and over time may shift a person's path of awareness. As we mentioned before, we work with light, truth, and awareness. If you feel aligned with this space, this intention, and this path, you're welcome to join us on this channel with respect for the mission we carry. The information I'm sharing today, I recently channeled on the 12/12/2025 portal, which is considered one of the most significant portals of this decade. You might wonder why this portal was so important. The reason is that 2025 marked the end of a cycle. In numerology, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9, and the number 9 always represents completion, integration, and release. Beyond that, 2025 marked 1/4 of a 21st century, making a 12/12 portals one of the final portals of this 25-year cycle. Now let's return to the topic of universal energy shift and why aligning with rising frequencies is especially important right now. As we mentioned earlier, the energy of the universe is moving toward a higher level of awareness. This cosmic shift affects many things, including the human physical body. This energetic shift doesn't only affect people on spiritual path, it impacts all human beings. When the body is unable to adjust to higher vibration, this misalignment can show up as chronic discomfort and physical pain. Those who are more sensitive to energy or environmental changes may feel these effects more intensely. That's why during this time, maintaining a higher frequency really matters. We align our vibration with these cosmic changes through conscious lifestyle choices, things like practicing mindfulness, becoming more aware of our actions and reactions, nourishing our bodies, and other aspects we will explore more deeply in future videos. This rise in universal frequency is also happening alongside changes in Earth's magnetic field, changes that naturally influence human awareness and energetic states across the planet. Now I would like to invite Maani to explain more about this pole shift, its effects, and how often this kind of change occurs.
So basically, before I speak about the Earth magnetic axis shift, it's essential to first understand how human consciousness expands. Human consciousness doesn't grow in a linear way. It doesn't move upward in a straight line. Instead, awareness grows through cycles, small and large. Within each cycle, we go through different experiences, and it's these experiences that expand our awareness. We see these cycles in everyday life, like waking and sleeping, light and darkness, activities and rest. There are also larger cycles, those connected to a stage of life, such as adolescence and adulthood, our relationships with others, crises, and events that shape our life path. Each cycle carries its own lessons and has the potential to expand our awareness.
So awareness doesn't follow a straight path, right?
Yeah.
And it's shaped through the experience.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So let's step beyond the individual level and look at the planetary scale. We see the Earth itself undergoes much longer cycle to rise its level of awareness as well. Cycles that influence not only geology and climate, but also collective human consciousness. One of the most important of these cycles is called the precessions of the equinoxes. Let me show you how. So imagine this is Earth, this is a wobble axis, and this is the axis that Earth is rotating. This is a very slow wobble in Earth rotation axis that takes about 26,000 years to complete. The Earth is spinning from west to east, but the Earth axis wobble happens from east to west, exactly opposite. The current location of this axis is here, and by year 15,000, it's going to be in this location and in this place. Throughout this great cycle, Earth experienced periods of expanding awareness and periods of limitation and forgetfulness. But these cycles are not simple circles, they are spirals. Each time a cycle completes, we don't return to the starting point, we move slightly forward. Experiencing completed in one cycle remains stored in the collective consciousness and can be accessed again in later cycle. Imagine it's like a screw.
So every time we reach the end, we don't go back, right?
Yes.
And we move forward and learn more.
Exactly. So interestingly, long before modern science could measure Earth axis movement, we began to learn it in the 1960s. The ancient civilizations such as the Sumerians, Mayans, Egyptians, and the Sanskrit traditions of India were aware of these cycles. Basically, they weren't just observing the stars, they were observing consciousness itself by looking at the sky. What we now call mythology or symbols carved on temple walls were actually codes and maps of awareness, ways of understanding recurring patterns of human experience. In ancient Sanskrit tradition, these long cycles of awareness they calculated 24,000 years, which we now know it's 26,000 years. They called yogas. Let me show you how they work. So the yogas are in this cycle, they go around the awakening phase and then coming back to the descending or sleeping phase. Yogas are periods of consciousness that begin in harmony, move into limitation, and eventually return to awareness. According to these ancient calculations, humanity has passed through its lowest point and point of awareness and now entered the phase of ascension. An ascending phase are usually intense at the beginning because awareness grows faster than existing structure can adopt. As a result, old structures collapse before new ones fully form. This intensity is not a mistake, it's a transition. We are witnessing this now. Old belief system, cultural, intellectual, economics, and political structures are breaking down because the previous period of sleep has ended and we've entered the phase of awakening. For these who wish to explore this more deeply, I recommend the book of The Holy Science by Sri Yukteswar, the teacher of Paramahansa Yogananda. You can learn more in it.
How are these awareness cycles connected to Earth magnetic field?
So basically, Earth is surrounded by a magnetic field that is not just a scientific concept. Birds, whales, and fish use it for navigating, and the human nervous system also responds to it as well. This magnetic field is also connected to the second layer of Earth consciousness grid. I'll explain these layers in separate video, but for now, know that the network through which we receive information aligned with the Earth magnetic field. Geographical evidence shows that, and geological evidence shows that Earth magnetic poles have shifted many times throughout history. Sometimes these shifts were gradual and sometimes sudden, but in every case, life reorganized itself. About 13,000 years ago, one of the most dramatic pole shifts occurred suddenly. This was not a gradual change, but a rapid planetary reset. To understand its scale, imagine the North Pole shift in a short time to the location of the Hawaiian Islands. This sudden shift altered Earth's magnetic field. Tectonic layers, ocean currents, and weather patterns dramatically changed.
And this coincide with the fall of Atlantis, right?
Yes, exactly. This event led to the collapse of a civilization known as Atlantis. You may have heard of Atlantis and assume it was a myth, but I assure you it was not. We'll explore this in future videos. More significant than the collapse of the Atlantis civilization was the destruction of Earth's planetary consciousness grid. At that time, human awareness was not limited to the individual brain as we are today. It was connected to planetary network aligned with the Earth's electromagnetic field. When the poles shifted, suddenly this network collapsed. The result was a near total loss of human memory, not just historical memory, but perceptual and cosmic memory as well. Humanity forgot who it was. That's why post-Atlantean civilizations appear to start from scratch. In future video, I'll explain how this consciousness grid was rebuilt.
Since we are experiencing magnetic field change again today, we want to know how are these affecting our lives and awareness now?
Yes. So, as I mentioned earlier, this time the change is happening differently, more slowly, more broadly, and with greater awareness. In this cycle, human memory will not be erased, don't worry. Instead, we are entering a new phase of awakening, as I showed you. That's why, alongside this awakening, technology is advancing rapidly, information is widely accessible, and awareness is expanding faster than ever. More people feel they are awakening and waking up, and no longer they fit into old structures. You don't need spiritual or cosmic theories to recognize these changes. We experience them in daily life. Life is moving faster, choices have increased, our social responsibility toward one another has grown, and our understanding of why events occurred has deepened. So, what we're experiencing now is not only the beginning of a new phase in Earth rising, but also part of a long journey of human awakening, both individually and collectively. Before I finish, there is one important point to clarify, something that has caused confusion for centuries. For a very long time, a common interpretation emerged that divided the 26,000 year cycle of the precession of the equinoxes into 12 equal parts, calling them zodiac ages. This is where the confusion usually begins. The precession of the equinoxes is a physical astronomical movement of the Earth, but ages like Pisces and Aquarius are cycles of human awareness, not calendar dates or fixed zodiac timelines. Completion and awakening phase, as I showed you, within the precession cycle does not automatically mean that the age of Pisces has ended and the age of Aquarius has begun. In reality, the age of Pisces lasts for longer than the commonly cited as 2,160 years. In fact, it extended well beyond a single precession segment. What we are experiencing now is an awakening phase that created the conditions for the age of Aquarius, but entering that age depends on conscious awareness and choice, not astrology or astronomical measurements. It's like the moment just before sunrise. The sun hasn't fully risen, but night has already ended. If you'd like to explore the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius more deeply, I've created a complete 3-part series on this topic. The links, I'm going to share it in the caption.
The year 2025 marked the end of a cycle, and 2026 begins a new one. This new cycle doesn't ask us to prove anything or reach some external destination. Instead, it invites us to live with greater awareness. In this cycle, each of us becomes responsible for our vibration, our choices, and how we align with these new energies. 2026 isn't about rebuilding from scratch. It's about living from a more aligned place within ourselves. A time for presence, awareness, and energetic coherence. If this information resonates with you and feels aligned, we invite you to stay with us in upcoming videos. We'll continue talking about mindfulness, energetic alignment, conscious living, and how to remain balanced during this period of both personal and collective transformation, so we can experience life with greater clarity and ease. Thank you for being here with us.
We send you light.